Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Masters of Marketing. Today I have Corey Morris on, and Corey, great to have you, mate.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll go through the usual. We'll go through a little bit of the background on Corey and where he's from, what's he been doing over the past year. So Corey's got a huge amount of experience in marketing for over the past 20 years or so. Looking at your profile, I've worked at companies like Influence. He's been at Voltage now. He's now the owner, president, CEO of Voltage. In between there, he was the director of digital strategy, ER marketing, also on the board of directors at Sempo. On top of that, he is also an award-winning ROI generating digital strategist. His industry leadership, client success, and community focused work made him recipient of the KCDMA, so the Kansas City Direct Marketing Association 2019 Marketer of the Year Award. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And In 2024, Corey founded the Digital Marketing Success Plan. And with that, also published the best selling book under the same title. On top of that, he is also a VIP contributor to Search Engine Journal, which is a fantastic read for anybody that is into search in anything SEO wise. That is where you're going to find all expert advice. So, for example, if you're in a volume SaaS business or any volume business where you need to drive a lot of traffic, Search Engine Journal is where you're definitely going to find the gems. And he's also a contributor to Search Engine Land and Forbes, as well as many other publications. So, really great to have you on, Corey. Thanks for
Yeah.
coming on.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. Looking forward to our conversation.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about Voltage and what you guys do.
Yeah, we're a digital agency. No surprise, probably after hearing my bio. Our focus is on web and search marketing. Again, probably not a surprise. We started as a creative shop, started doing websites shortly thereafter, and I came in 2013 when the previous owners we're trying to answer the question that clients were asking of now, can you help drive leads, traffic, or sales through my website? And so started the digital marketing team, and that kind of took off and became our focus. And now we've made some changes over the last year and a half, 2 years. And now we proudly kind of say on our website, it's kind of the second statement, that we're not full service or integrated anything. We just do the two things that we would put up against anybody else in North America or worldwide if we were in a pitch. And that's, again, websites and search.
Okay. So what type of brands do you guys work with?
That's interesting too, as we're working through our own kind of planning process and seeing if there's something to narrow in on in terms of furthering our niche. I'm all about getting narrow and being the expert we can be, and not have to recreate the wheel or have inefficiencies for clients where they're having to pay for what we don't know, and for us to figure it out. Naturally, we do a lot of B2B and a lot of lead generation and connecting things to ROI, whether it's a simple web project or a complex, thought leadership driven digital marketing campaign. I say that, but we have some awesome, e-commerce clients and nonprofits and others as well. But I think a lot of like longer sales cycle, quality versus quantity, lead generation is really a focal point for us.
Got it. Got it. Do you have any like bigger clients or clients that you care to mention?
We've worked with, we work with logistics firms like e-shipping, which is big here in the States. We've worked, I can't mention due to some confidentiality agreements,
Sure.
some of the brands we work on, because we also work on probably about 40% of our revenue is agency to agency, where we're the specialist for them in search or web. And so we have some well-known candy brands that I can't name, but things that would be in a Halloween bucket that my kids would come home with, as well as a chain of hardware stores, a popular
Okay.
popcorn brand here in the States as well. So some of the more flashy brands are in there, but we've worked in the past with some national brands like Brinks and Delta Faucet Company
Okay.
and others as well. So it's an interesting collection, and many of the companies we work with today are leaders in their space, but not necessarily the consumer brand that we would all think of.
Fair enough. No, I got it. It's interesting. Based on the types of brands that you mentioned there and the descriptions you gave, I was able to read between the lines a little bit. Just the candy bucket being one. That's, for example, that's no, that's it's really interesting. So it's like it's a good mix. So consumer goods and then also some more manufacturing type of clients, from what I understand, right?
Yeah, manufacturing, finance, logistics, transportation, and I know those aren't like niche; those are huge categories, and even some healthcare from a couple of large academic hospital systems as well.
Okay.
So it's a wide range. In many cases, though, professional services, analytics firms that work with Fortune 500 companies and economic advisory firms. So some really smart people in their industries. And I think that I'd like to think that we're smart, maybe not me, but the rest of my team is super smart. And so, it's cool that we can have a level of respect and nerdery that we share with a lot of them too.
I think you're smart, Corey. Don't worry. You're all good, man.
We'll see by the end of this interview what anybody
well,
thinks.
well, let's see. It's still time, right? So, so like you spoke there just around like finding your niche, right? You said that these are large industries, but you're looking to find a niche, and then you also mentioned just before we jumped on this that you want to get some planning done yourself, right, in the next couple of weeks while things are a little bit quiet, and obviously, you talk a lot about planning generally, right? So the digital marketing success plan being one of them. But before we get into the digital marketing success plan, let's talk a little bit about finding that niche, right? So you're trying to hone in on a niche within a niche. How are you going about that? Like, what is how are your steps to success looking for that?
Yeah, I think there have been some critical moments. I've sought outside experts and help as well. Did some work with Drew McClellan from Agency Management Institute and Stephen Wessner from Predictive ROI, who serve agencies, and kind of, I read through their book content, attended a workshop, I think maybe for accountability as much as anything else, because for several years I knew we wanted to get narrower. I didn't want to have a 20 something person staff where we were trying to do 15 things and I'd have like one person who had to be the expert, for example, in email marketing and automation. And so I have one email person and they've got to know the 11 platforms and be an expert on them that my clients are in. Or so, when we were doing social media, have one social media person, right? And they have to be the expert across all clients. And just, I found that we were spread really thin trying to be a generalist. And I wanted to be a specialist and to stack up, our expertise, like I said, within and be able to go toe to toe in a pitch and say, this is what we do with conviction, instead of saying this is one of many things we do. Here's our one person who's the expert on this, and lose out to other agencies who may only do social media or a specific marketing channel. So went through a process where we evaluated what we were best at. My background is heavily in SEO, but I kind of shied away from that. I was like, that seems too easy, or seems like, are people going to hire us if we don't do all these extra things? And so it was kind of a process. I turned some of it over to my team and went through kind of evaluating our own services and offerings. And I thought it would be a 3-year nice and easy transition plan. But what I realized last year is how hard it was to sell legacy services alongside what we really want to do and keep our foot in kind of both areas and just stretch that out. So it was not an easy year last year, even the first half of this year, of turning over and being careful with our revenue and keep operating and where we want to go versus have smooth transitions out of the things that we didn't want to do and build up the base of referral partners or partners to come alongside us when we no longer do some of those things in house and get all that structured. But it just kind of took off and felt the need to do it faster and to get through it. So now we're mostly on the other side. I think about 95% of what we do service wise is in a service offering niche. And some of the planning I'm doing for 2025 is related to audience and target audience and verticals and where we might go deeper.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I fully understand where you're coming from there with trying to fly the plane and fix the plane at the same time over the past couple of years, right?
Yeah,
And you also don't want to say no to business, right? That's the other thing, and
absolutely.
you're trying to
Yeah.
keep the lights on at the same time. It's not easy. Not easy. Where are you at in that journey now? Like, have you managed to be able to find a solid path forward to offer what you want to offer? Like, have you managed to bridge that gap well, or how do you
Yeah.
feel about it now?
Yeah, we don't very often now get any asked to do, or new inbound inquiries or anything like that of work that's outside of that niche. And I think our positioning with our new website that we launched early in the year, where we're boldly kind of proclaiming that flag that we planted and what we do, has helped that. So I was very hesitant and scared at first of like, well, we're cutting off this flow of inbound leads that are asking us for the full range of things. Is it going to go to just a trickle, or are we going to generate new leads and attention? And thankfully, we're in a really good spot. We actually just set a sales record this year,
Congrats.
and we're, after having some attrition that we knew we were going to have when we were moving out of some revenue and work that we're no longer doing last year. We have stabilized all of that as well. So we just celebrated last week our year, and it's an exciting place to be now. And and looking back and seeing how it wasn't always fun at the time to work through some of those transitions, but now we're in a spot where we're excited going into the new year.
Change sucks, man. That's just how it is. Like, change is a real pain.
Yeah.
It's it is what it is, though. It is what it is. And when you're talking about attrition, I guess you've seen some attrition with people as well. I guess when you're moving away from how things used to be done to how things are now being done, I guess you probably lost some people on the team as well.
Yeah. Yeah. We had to look at what hats people were wearing and how that stacked up in terms of our departments. So we definitely got leaner in that process. And I'm a people first person, and so I don't take steps like that lightly too. And so
Yeah.
I'm always about making sure people are plugged into the um, right places. And so, yeah, I'm excited about the team and the strength of our team and leveraging it though, instead of having people be split focus and thinking about seven different things. And
Yeah, sure. Sure. Makes sense. Okay, well, look, let's get into a little bit about planning, right? So we've been speaking about everything that you guys have been doing at Voltage. When you're talking about the digital marketing success plan, so this is something that you've created. Tell us a little bit about this first and foremost. So, what is it, and how did you come
yeah,
about with it, and tell me more.
yeah, I initially went down the path as we doubled down essentially in search. Year and a half ago, it was right around the time that Chat GPT came on the scene and AI became the buzzword that we can't avoid every hour of the day anymore. And disruption was starting to happen big time in search. It was already happening where less, the data going back even to prior to COVID, less search traffic coming through Google and Google answering things directly, and not sending as much traffic through to us, became more about a quality, not quantity focus for even just search marketing. But I started getting asked, what do you think about the future of search? You're doubling down on it. And my answer was, whether this is the time that SEO finally dies, because it's been declared dead so many times over the years, and we call it something else, or if it evolves to the number of search engines and sources, it's a prime example of how there will always be brands out there that need help getting found. Whether holographic ads are a thing tomorrow or whatever, we have to figure out how to master what's next and balance what works today with what the future is tomorrow, for where our marketing is going. And so what I realized in looking at our own processes and plans, I thought, man, what are the areas? Why do people hate agencies? Why do our internal teams sometimes ineffective? Or you get to the end of the year and you're like, what did we get in terms of our overall marketing return on investment? And it sounds like a bunch of excuses because we were pulled in 100 different directions. Legit activities happen, but do we have return on investment? Um, most organizations have a marketing plan, but do they have a plan that is not in somebody's head? Is it written? Is it documented? Do we say time out? We need to go revisit the plan if a new priority pops up or a new product is developed, or a CEO does a drive by and says, hey, what about targeting that audience? And we don't say, well, does that take our focus off of what we're doing? Do we have more budget? How do we reallocate? Or AI and everything else? Are we chasing shiny objects and getting distracted? So um, I believe strongly that all those problems can be solved, and so that's when I took the process and put it into a book and made it a 5-step thing that is approachable but robust as a framework for being able to um, get the plan documented, not spend a year tinkering with it, but also have enough agility built into it where it's a framework that works for the year.
Yeah, I think you mentioned something that most companies have a plan. I think I would disagree with you on that. I 100% agree that they don't have any. If they have something, they don't have it in writing. They don't have it in black and white on paper, right? So maybe I'll agree. Well, maybe if you meant it that way, then I'll definitely agree with you. However, I just think that a lot of marketers just don't even have that. They're still like shooting from the hip, or at least taking, like, they're being pointed in every single direction by a CEO or by the C-suite or whatever. If you don't have a strong CMO in place, at least, right, that's at least planning from the bottom up and top down, making sure that everything is connected to each other, that's connected to some level of targets. And then, as you said, like, if there's a priority being thrown over the wall by the CEO, they're at least able, you said a drive by, which is perfect way to describe what happens normally, right? CEO says, I was at a conference at the weekend, or I read this book yesterday and this said this, let's drop everything and focus on that now. And people say, oh yeah, no worries, let's go. And any type of plan that they may have had just is thrown out the window,
Yeah.
But most companies that I would work with, that's their number one problem, right? They just don't have, they don't know where to start with planning. Like, I just think I think there's a big gap there generally. Like, how do you see it?
Yeah, it's not an exciting topic, and people, 10 years of CMOs, gotten shorter and shorter, and I think it's an iceberg, with a hidden risk that if you don't have it documented and somebody leaves, how much time does it take to start over, especially in organic channels, or somebody coming in and bringing in a new staff or team or a new agency or whatever it might be. And if the plan isn't documented and agreed to and owned by the organization, where it's not personal, it's not in somebody's head, then just all those wasted dollars, wasted time, misaligned expectations. I mean, it's all there. And these are things that seem basic, but I agree with you that I think a lot of organizations don't have a robust plan, a plan like I'm describing. I think a lot say that we have a marketing plan, but it's watered down, or it's, to your point, not documented in a way that at the standard that we're talking about.
Yeah. I see it. I see it as a real issue, because I just think if you're working to that type of plan or lack of plan, it's whatever you do is going to be lackluster, right? Nothing is going to be connected. Nothing is going to appear though it's working. Like, it's very rarely that I'll talk to a CEO that's like, oh yeah, I have a marketing plan, but the team, but it's not working. That's a very rare thing, like that, they have something robust in place and it's not working. If you have something, you can make
Yeah.
it work as long as it's connected, right?
Well, and marketing, it frustrates me when marketing is looked at as an expense, and it's one of the first expenses that gets cut in any lean time or restructure or whatever, because it should have it's an investment with the expectation of a return on investment. Right. And so when that's another indicator or symptom that I see is, okay, we have, a marketing budget, and maybe we have a plan, maybe we don't, but is the plan actually a tool, and is it effective enough, or is it deep enough connected to what the business outcome and goal is, not just marketing KPIs? That, okay, we got a bunch of marketing KPIs, and then someone somewhere has to make a decision. A CEO, CFO, president, owner, whatever, has to try to connect the dots on marketing KPIs to business performance. And that's not a good place to live if we have the ability to integrate systems and know full ROI. But I'll be honest, like early in my career as an SEO, I didn't want to get messy and go over into the business stuff or the politics or the systems, right? I had enough things on my plate to begin with, just wearing that one hat and resources needs and everything else. I wasn't the business problem solver or the integrator or whatever. And I think a lot of agencies don't want to go there. And I know that because I see it when prospects come to us and show us the reporting, and I'm asking the client or prospect for the first time about some of the business things and integrating these systems, so we have the power to know instead of just assuming things. And so, and I say all that not sitting on a high horse here saying that I'm better than anybody else. I've made plenty of mistakes along the way to learn a lot of these lessons, but we have the power to know. Why wouldn't we get our hands dirty for a minute and get things connected and get deep enough where then, we're not guessing or dancing around, is this working or not?
100%. 100% on that. We've just called it time. I would say that the key thing that I've taken away from this is make sure that you have a plan in place. Make sure that it's documented, well documented, that it's aligned with the business needs of the organization. So what are the commercial needs? Make sure that that's connected up there, because then at least you're able to have that conversation once it gets to a point where CFO is saying, hey, we need to cut budgets. I was like, hold on a sec, we're having an impact. I can prove the impact that we're having here with the plan that I put in place that's being measured by XYZ, which is then being tracked through tool XYZ, and that you're able to prove that. So, Corey, thank you so much for your time, mate. Where can people find you?
Yeah, 3 places. The book is called The Digital Marketing Success Plan. That's a long domain name, so I've shortened it to the DMSP.com. You can find the 5-step planning process there and get a link over to Amazon to purchase it if interested. CoreyMorris.com for any interviews, speaking, one-off things I can do to help support you, or Voltage.digital if you're interested in a free conversation to talk through planning and digital marketing as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Corey. It's been great speaking.
Thanks, Andy.
Sure. Guys, this has been another episode of Masters of Marketing. Tune in again next year for more great content. Take it easy, Corey.
Thank you.